What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Six Rings Kane Show. Jazz Santana here, joined live as always by Vish and Danny Gillette, and of course, now hopefully more of a little bit of a regular, the great legendary Larry Bluestein. What's going on, Blue? How you guys doing?
Doing good, doing good. No complaints. Just got off the road. I was telling Vish and Danny, it's been a productive summer.
Awesome.
Really good spring and now into the summer. So I'm ready. I think this. I remember last year you and Dono and I hung out at the Legends. It was Paradise. I guess
Paradise
it was
Camp, yeah.
Paradise Camp, and it rained pretty good. So they're having it earlier this year. So maybe not so much rain.
I wonder if we'll be able to get access. Will we be able to get access like last year?
I would hope so.
I would think so, right? Well,
Yeah.
I can't imagine Blue wouldn't.
Well, then guess what, Blue? I'll see you there, my man. I'll see you there again.
Nah, that's not true, Vish. I mean, I haven't been down there much at all. So
I think
that
we'll be all right.
that I know that they have like Marcus Benjamin just took over Gary Furman's site, and I know that he's going to be down.
So what's Gary? Did Gary retire?
No, Gary's going to be with On3 now. So
Get out of here.
yeah.
On3 is the new big recruiting site.
That's interesting. That's interesting. All right.
Yeah.
It goes to show you how out of the loop I am with all those sites. But anyways,
I see that. But the whole thing is those message boards, and that's what's probably made a lot of those people. And Gary's always had a strong message board. That's what he does. He sits there and monitors and kicks people off to agree with him.
Right. Big shout out before we get into our sponsor. Big shout out to Rasta, who was on the show last week. What's going on? Tap, what's going on? Negus, what's going on? Go Canes 35, Kane, Idaho. What's going on? What's going on, everybody? Fernie says, do you need a cameraman? Take me with you. I guess he's talking about Legends Camp.
Oh, okay.
That's funny, man. Hey, listen, if we can get a cameraman, that'd be pretty awesome. But before we get on with it, because we do have another special guest as well coming on the show in just a little bit, let's talk about our sponsor. Show sponsor, pull it up there, Vish. Let's do it, baby. Here we go. Talk about Prize Picks, prizepicks.com, the official daily fantasy app of the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Make sure you're using the code 5 when you log on. It's FIVE. Prize Picks will match your initial deposit up to $100. Use the code 5 FIVE when you sign up. You don't even have to spend it all at once, which is great. But they'll match your initial deposit up to $100, which is awesome. You can play anything. You can play the NBA. You can play the NFL, the NHL. So many different things, and what's great about it is that you can mix and match players. You don't have to choose the same player from players from the same sport. You can choose them from different teams and different sports. Really awesome to play. Here's how it works. You pick 2 to 5 players, right? Then you play the over-under on their individual categories. It all depends on how much you want to win. So basically, if you choose 2 players, you'll win a little bit less than if you choose 5, and so on and so forth. Again, all depends on how much you want to win. So make sure you go to prizepicks.com, sign up today using the code 5 FIVE, and they will match your initial deposit up to $100. Prizepicks.com. There we go. All right. I came ready to go. Came hydrated. Came with a drink in my hand. Not that kind of drink, but real quick before we get into the meat and potatoes of it all. Gary's in the building too. Gary Cabot, what's going on? Spicy chicken nuggets. This has been, honestly speaking, Blue. I want to start off with you because this has been the craziest recruiting cycle I have seen in a long time down here in South Florida, down here in Miami for the Hurricanes. We all know it's obvious, yes, Cristobal is hitting the ground hard. His whole entire staff is hitting the ground running, and they're doing some great work. I mean, they're recruiting the hell out of every single nook and cranny you can find, not only in Florida, but all throughout the country. Hey, Lex, what's going on? Degenerates in the house. Smash the like button. We appreciate it, Lex. What's going on? Make sure you check out their show. They got an awesome show. I believe plug your show there, Lex. I can't remember if it's Sunday or Monday, but I know you guys got a great show as well, man. So make sure so we can make sure we plug it for you as well. Listen, as I was saying, crazy time right now in recruiting for college football. So many different names, so many huge names, right? We got a huge visitors, group coming in this weekend. Then we've got the Legends Camp next weekend. And we've got some guys there right now. Peyton Kirkland, I think, is in the building. Jaden Rashada is in the building. He called Jaylen Brown, told him to come over. I mean, this is crazy. This is crazy what's going on, Blue. Have you seen this type of hype, this type of atmosphere for Miami Hurricanes recruiting? I don't want to say ever, but it's been a while, right?
Well, it has been a while, but not only that, it's just, there's a mix of, follow the kind of leader because Mario and his gang, have always, everybody there. I mean, you got to figure, look at all the coaches on staff. They've all been very well respected in the past, and a lot of people follow them. So obviously that with the transfer portal, with the NIL, there's so much stuff going on that, these kids are trying to make a commitment early on. And obviously with Emory Williams, a kid that we talked about over the last year or so, getting him on campus. Obviously,
by the way, that's a kid that we, as in the Hurricanes, have talked about. Nobody else spoke about him until recently. That's a good thing. That's a crazy thing about it.
Well, you know what? I mean, and you got to credit, Frank Ponce for listening. Here's a guy who, arguably has, I mean, you could say what you want. I know that Alabama has a pretty fair quarterback room, but Miami's getting right there. I mean, and especially adding him on top of what they have. But yeah, it is kind of strange, but there's still a wait and see. Outside the state and outside our little structure here, Miami's still a team that, lost 5 games, lost 6 games. Everybody still looks at them. I mean, they haven't won a Coastal. They haven't, been in the ACC championship game. So there's that wait and see. And I know that, in our area, and especially in South Florida and throughout the state, Mario's and the staff hit the ground running in the spring, which was probably the most important spring they've had in years because it was like an introductory. And we were just talking about this before the show went on, Jazz, about somebody like a Coach Gaddis or Charlie Strong getting out there because they're well known. And, seeing them with the U on now is changing a lot of people's, opinion and their perception of Miami. And, we are all excited because we know, what's on campus, who's coming in, a couple of the portal kids, and what they're doing with $100 million facility and all these upgrades, these serious upgrades. They have an athletic director now that has been there, done that. He's got it done at a high level, not just in football, but all sports. And you could see, right now, arguably, you look at Miami's basketball teams and the baseball team, they were amongst the best in the country. And that's what they're trying to do, put a well-rounded sports program down here. And I think that they are going about it the right way. And football now can compete with anybody. And it's so funny, wherever I go, everyone goes, well, geez, 5 years ago, they couldn't afford an assistant coach. Now they're building a $100 million facility. Well, that happens when the interest is funneled in the right direction. And you get people in there who understand, what great facilities. When I talked to Mario about a month ago, I said to him, well, because he's selling me on the big time facility. And I said to him, well, remember back in the day when you guys were kicking everybody's butt, and so was USC, but you guys respectively had the worst weight rooms in all of college football. He said, but you know what? Times have changed. Kids want to walk on campus now and see these unbelievable structures that they could take a picture of and then go back and brag how, hey, I was down at Miami this weekend. Wow, you should see what they've got going on down there. And, it's sort of like, and I can understand it. So facilities have taken over, Jazz. And that's another aspect of this recruiting cycle, because what they're selling for the immediate future. I mean, in a couple of years, they're going to have a state-of-the-art facility at these kids. And then, and I saw what it's going to be. It's going to be comparable to anybody in the country. And that's a great thing. So now you have a real sales tool. When you go out as a salesperson in anything, you have to believe in the product that you're selling. And sometimes if you don't have the facilities or, maybe don't have the team or so, you kind of stretch things. Miami doesn't have to stretch anything anymore. The product is here. I think the kids coming in this weekend as you mentioned, they have visits all this week, and then the Legends coming up this weekend. You're going to have an opportunity to really showcase the campus, the future. Parents are going to be there. High school coaches are going to be there as well, and I think that this is the time where Miami starts to make the move, like in a horse race. Or right now in the middle of the pack, but they're going to start cracking the whip a little bit and see them get move towards the front.
This is going to be exciting.
I will say, just to add to what Blue said, I think one thing that makes us all feel a lot better is mentioned middle of the pack. I think nationally he's right. It's like a wait and see. Like there's some stuff happening here, but locally, when you look at the other two in-state schools, feel a lot better about where Miami is right now. And for better or worse, we judge ourselves by Florida and Florida State as well. And there is no way you'd rather be in those two schools' positions than Miami's right now. It's not even close.
Oh, yeah.
And that's, the first time you could say that in a while, especially considering facilities and all that. It was always Miami's in a better location, but the facilities aren't up to standard, and there's all these buts, they won't pay and all that. And now it's almost reversed completely. So that I think is also creating a lot of positive momentum just in the state, because it's by far in the best shape out of the big three schools.
Before we bring in our next guest really quick, I wasn't going to continue without plugging it, Lex. Here we go. Mondays at 8:30. It's the Average Canes fan show. That's what it is. The Average Canes. It's
on Flo's feed, right?
Yeah, on the Miami Flo. It's on the Miami Flo channel.
Yeah, it's on the Miami Flo channel. So if you're subscribed to that, you'll see it. Definitely give that a
really cool show. We'll definitely get Lex on the show soon to talk a little bit about that. Shout out to Sosa. What's going on, Sosa? Terry. Damn, it feels good to be a Cane. What's good? Pimp down. What's good? What's going on? We got some people in the chat today, baby. Nice. And without further ado, we're gonna bring in our next guy.
Let's do it.
Another legend in the game.
Hello.
Oh, hey, hello.
I see all the Miami Flo degenerates are flooding the chat right now.
I love it. Shout out to all the degenerates, man. We love it. What's going on, Flo? Max Flo Daddy, Miami Flo, Max Flo Dad, whatever your name is, man. What's going on, Dad?
It's just another sunny day in Cali.
Yes, it is. That's right.
I can't complain.
The beautiful state of Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Other than that $10 a gallon for gas, everything's going good, huh?
Max uses a scooter over there.
No, yeah. I work from home, so I don't have to deal with the gas that often.
Even better. Max, we were actually talking to Blue before we even get into names and everything, and all the names that are on campus now are coming in this weekend, are coming in next weekend for Legends Camp. How crazy! And we see it. By the way, I see it all day. You see it all day in the chats that we're in. It drives me crazy all day at work. However, I was telling Blue, is this kind of like the craziest recruiting cycle we have seen in Canes football? Maybe ever, but I want to say for sure in a very, very long time, right? I think the last time we were as hyped about, recruiting class, well, not even because it's not even ready yet, but like we're talking about the Northwestern 8, right? Like that's the time we were really excited about the recruiting class. Has there ever been a recruiting cycle as crazy as this one right now?
I would say it's definitely up there. I would argue that last class was crazier because he did everything that he did in like a couple of weeks, like pulling Nigel Kelly and Cyrus Moss and some of those guys like that, Inez Cooper, in literally I think it was like was it 2 weeks?
Just
less than 2 weeks, yeah.
He got hired, I believe, December 6th, and early signing day was like the 15th. So what he was able to do in that short period of time, and then obviously going into the February national signing day, I think that was crazy. But as far as talent on campus, this is probably the most talent that's been on campus ever.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's hard to even keep up. Obviously you've got some big names right now there, and then you've got the big names calling other big names to come on campus and hang out with them and take pictures with them and do story. It's just like, it's wild. It's wild what we see. Obviously there's rumors galore everywhere, and, sifting through the crap, I think is the biggest thing, right? It's the most important thing. We talk about it a lot, sifting through what's real and what's not, who's getting the wrong information, who's getting the right information, who's getting any information at all. Big shout out to the General. What's going on, General? What's going on, buddy? Hope all is well. Good to see the legend Blue. Yes, sir. Always good to see Blue. And you'll see more of them. And we got some big news for you at the end of the show as well. So keep it locked and we'll show you guys. But anyways, going back to it, I definitely want to get into this week first, right? Because this week, there's some big names on campus right now, Max. Peyton Kirkland, Jaden Rashada, if I'm not mistaken. Jaylen Brown, if I'm not mistaken, who wasn't even supposed to be here. Talk to me about how that all happens. And I mean, again, like it's just like the norm now to have these 5-star and high and big time 4-star players coming on campus now. But we're talking about guys that are legitimate players in their own positions in the country, man. Like, how does this all happen? Who's on campus right now? What's going on there?
Yeah, so there was supposed to be initially 2 official visitors this week, or actually 3. Sorry, it was Peyton Kirkland and Francis Mawagoa were supposed to get in here on Monday, and then you had Robert Stafford, the athlete, that was supposed to get here on, I believe, on Tuesday, and then that turned into Rashada coming, and Rashada asking Jaylen Brown to come with him. Not for an official. Rashada's is an official, but Jaylen just came here unofficially because they're really, really tight. And there's a lot of guys that play for that Immortals team now that want to play together in college. I mean, you got Jaden Rashada as the quarterback, but you have the Washington brothers who are already committed to Miami. You have Andy Jean who wants to play with them on. You have Jaylen Brown who wants to play with them. So that's kind of how it all happened. I wouldn't be shocked if Andy Jean popped up to campus at some point today. I know it wasn't reported, and I don't know if it happened, but I wouldn't be surprised if he showed up at some point. But it's just it's crazy, and this isn't even the Legends weekend. This is just midweek stuff.
And good macaroni and cheese too.
Yeah.
Blue, I want to kind of throw it to you. You heard the names, right? Jada Rashada, Peyton Kirkland, Francis Malgoa. Who am I missing there? Who did I miss there? Jaylen Brown, Robert Stafford. Those are some of the names that you've seen, obviously, a lot of in tournaments, 7-on-7s, high school games. Who are out of those kids? Who are the ones that stand out to you the most? And kind of give us a rundown of who do you think can kind of end up at Miami as well.
Well, the very fact that they would show up, to come here in the middle of the week. I think all of them have a good shot. I mean, you mentioned Rashada. That's a kid that all summer long, he's been a name that everybody talked about. Stafford the same way. I think that Miami has a shot. But, like we said before, this is an unusual time, but this is where they get on campus. They meet this new staff. They see all the plans for the future. They hear, and you, I think, you guys, Max, you just pointed out, they have a little network, and these guys get together and they've been together during the summer, and they kind of talk and say, hey, listen, it's sort of like what Brandon Innes and a couple of guys did with Ohio State. They figured, if we could get together and this and that. So that happens, and I think it's for the benefit of Miami. Jaylen Brown, I love to see him. I think Andy Jean is primed for probably one of the biggest years yet because of Adam Moore. They got Adam Moore, who coming over from Booker T. Washington, is a stud. That's the type of kid. He looks like he's NFL ready right now. And if you start putting double coverage on Andy Jean, he'll kill you. I mean, Andy Moore will kill you. So that helps him out, and that's going to help his visibility. And he could end up with 70, 75 catches at the end of the year and put it in the end zone. So he's another one. Obviously, Miami needs a marquee receiver. And obviously, you would like to get somebody that's going to plug the gap this year, and they still will. I'm sure they're trying to get a bunch of kids who are, seniors that may want to transfer in for the final year, or guys that have graduated that still have eligibility left. But the main thing is, we went in the spring thinking that Jacoby George would be the guy, and he wasn't. He really wasn't. He didn't do very well, and I think that the last 2 years with Osborne, and then last year with Rambo, you had that guy. You had that guy where it opened up for some of the other receivers. And I think that, with the year that Mallory's supposed to have, it's just such an attractive, if you're an offensive player, it's such an attractive offense to be a part of because, without a doubt, you have a quarterback who's top 3 in college football right now, and he's already proven himself that he's going to get it out to all the receivers, and he's going to use his backs. He's going to use everything. And you look at Gaddis, even though he was run oriented in Michigan, things are going to change. I mean, even though the Miami's got probably one of the best stable of backs they've had in a long, long time when everybody's healthy and running on all cylinders, especially with the addition of Parrish, it's going to be great. So I think if you're an offensive player, you've got to look at Miami as one of the teams that you say, you know what, they look like they're going to have a lot of fun. You got a guy like Gaddis, you got a guy like Frank Ponce, who really is, a quarterback friendly type of guy. So I think those guys that you mentioned, Stafford, he'd be excellent. They're concentrating. They now in the portal, they got some linemen, because the day that I was down there, I think it was during spring, they had just got 2 or 3 kids from the portal, and they were working them out. Obviously, the couple of kids from the West Coast who are getting acclimated to this crazy weather down here. How heat and humidity get you. But I think that's what Miami's a fun place to be. And I think over the next couple of years, they're going to, as they win more and more games, it's going to be one of the marquee places. I mean, obviously Alabama's still, Georgia's still, Ohio State, Oklahoma, SC's starting to get a lot better. As Max, you could see from being on that coast, that they're going about it basically the same way with Miami. A word of mouth, all of a sudden Lincoln Riley goes there, all the people that he was recruiting, same thing with Mario. Just kind of tougher for Mario because a lot of the kids that he had on the West Coast, are having a lot of options. And, but to bring him the way he is, I think Miami's in for a really, really solid recruiting year.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can all agree on that. Before we get into, I got a couple of questions here in the chat, but by the way, the chat's having their own discussions on mac and cheese and chicken wings and all that stuff too.
Oh, you should have seen it last night on our show. It was ridiculous.
I feel like Max. I feel like he brought all this here.
Yeah, he definitely did. Kane Idaho calling them possum elbows. AO is now here in the chat too. Anyways, before we get to the question, because I know Lex has a question about Legends Camp. DJ, I kind of want to throw it to you because you do a little bit of recruiting stuff as well. You've got some articles now on 5reasonsportsnetwork.com, on 5reasonsports.com, excuse me. Not only about the visits, but some other commits. Out of the guys that Max, mentioned earlier and spoke about, Peyton Kirkland and Rashada and Jaylen Brown and Stafford in the bunch. Who's somebody that stands out to you there?
Jaden Rashada, because when you look at the type of quarterbacks that Miami wants to recruit, they want players that can throw the deep ball and make throws in the pocket. And Rashada, I watched his film a couple of weeks ago, and he just stood out to me immediately. He can throw the deep ball with ease. He throws it with tremendous accuracy. And he makes his life easy for his receivers. And it's interesting when you look at the 23 class in particular, because Miami is doing a good job. They got quarterback Emory Williams, and they're surrounding him with playmakers that can make things happen down the field. You talk about tight end Jackson Carver, Reed McKeska, guys like that. Seymour, who committed last year. Those guys can get down the field, and for a pocket passing quarterback with a big arm, that's their best friend. So I would really like to see another pocket passing quarterback in Rashada come to Miami, because boy, he can sling the rock.
By the way, we got another legend in the building. Flo's in the chat. Look at that.
Oh wow, we got everybody today.
This is what we do when we get Max and Blue here. The chat blows up, and we appreciate it. So, a big shout out to Flo as well in the chat. Look, listen, real quick. I think this is an interesting one. Vish, I'll hit it to you on Legends Camp first, and then we'll ask the questions from Lex. But this is the interesting one to me, Max. I'm going to throw it to you on this, right? With Emory Williams committing yesterday, I think was it yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday, right? Yeah.
2 days ago.
Was it 2 days ago?
Monday.
2 days ago already. Jeez. All right.
Well,
so,
he committed the 11th, but he announced it on Monday.
Right. This is an interesting one, Jaden Rashada, because for some time he was the number one guy on a lot of people's boards. Not a lot of people knew about Emory. Emory started getting, his hype and by Miami, right? By Miami. It wasn't anybody else. And by the way, big shout out to Frank Ponce on that, right? That's his guy. This dynamic of bringing in both of these guys, both highly rated. Well, I guess Rashada's highly rated. Emory's getting there, right? He's an Elite 11 finalist now. which is absolutely fantastic. And then you've got Rashada, who's very talented as well. That dynamic of bringing in both of these guys, the opportunity, right? The possibility of bringing in both of these guys, and still people's talking about how excited they are, even with getting Emery, to possibly get Rashada. What does that say about what Miami is doing from a recruiting standpoint, and what they think about both Emery and Rashada?
Yeah, so shout out to the boss man Flo. He had kind of reported a couple weeks ago that the quarterbacks knew that they were going to go after each other, basically. And that was something that happened through the coaching staff. Ponce had his guy, Gaddis had his guy. Mario said, just go get both of them. Who cares? They're trying to figure out who they were going to go after. He said, just go get both of them. So to me, it just shows the type of alpha Mario is, and it just proves that he wants that competition. But it also shows you, if Rashada does commit to Miami on Sunday, it shows you that the quarterbacks are alphas too, because they're not scared of competition. They're coming into a room with Jake Garcia and Jakari Brown and TVD and another quarterback in their class. So it's just the epitome of Mario. He just wants to bring in as much talent as possible. You guys just mentioned Carver and McKeska, and they're still in the running for Riley Williams, who's the number 1 player in the state of Oregon.
Number 2 tight end in the country, right?
Yeah, just announced that he's transferring to IMG for his senior year. So we talk about, we just got 2 legit tight ends that had offers from top schools commit to Miami, and we're not satisfied. We still want another one. So that's just what you're getting with Mario. He's completely relentless, and it's a fun sight to see.
Before we move on to Legends, because I know I keep talking about the Legends camp, we still got a couple of things this weekend. But even before we get to that, Blue, I'll throw it to you as well. You knew about Emery Williams, I'm sure, for quite some time. You've seen him play a little bit up in Milton. But obviously, we all know about Jaden Rashada as well. How do you feel how that dynamic is? Max just talking about how Mario just said, "Hey, go get them, man. It doesn't matter. We're gonna bring in the best of the best, and if they want to play here, they're gonna come and compete. And if they want to come and compete, then let's go get them." Like, how do you feel about both guys? First, your take on Emery Williams, who we just posted there. That as Rasta noted, that he just got his 4-star on ESPN, which kind of says a lot about those rankings anyways to begin with. But talk to me a little about your thoughts real quick before we get into Legends Camp about Emery and Rashada. Well, you kind of mentioned Rashada already, so maybe just about Emery.
Well, I was just telling Vish and Danny just a little while ago that about 13 months ago, I was at the Florida State camp, and I was watching the quarterbacks go through their drills and do their one-on-ones and such. And I said to Odell Higgins, one of the coaches at FSU, I said, this kid right here looks like he could throw the ball. I mean, I wasn't sure where he was from. All of a sudden, coach didn't have any idea other than the kid was easily the best kid there. I went up to him after a couple of drills. He was getting some water, and I said, "Where are you from?" And he says, "I'm from Milton." I says, "Oh." I said, "Are you the kid Williams?" And he goes, Yeah. And I said, "Wow." No one even knew about him. There wasn't a person in this other than FSU coaches at the time, because Coach Norvell had mentioned to me that he was going to have him on campus. And I'll tell you what, he made every single freaking throw. I mean, this is a kid's got a really strong arm. He moves out of the pocket when he needs to. He's not going to be a blazer, but he throws the ball extremely well up front, upfield. He's not afraid to challenge, and he'll try to he uses some arm strength because he's like Van Dyke. As a kid that I talked to when he was actually a junior in high school, basically because he played baseball. And I thought he was a draftable baseball kid. And then I watch his film, and they're basically the same type of person in the fact that they got the arm strength to thread the ball right in there. They got great accuracy. If you look at Williams throw the ball, he almost throws like a pitcher. I mean, he'll come over 3/4. He won't come up, not Bernie Kosar type, but he comes over not over completely over the top. And that's one thing that I talked to Coach Ponce about. I said, listen, you're not going to correct people like that. If they're getting the job done and they have accuracy and you can't start messing with them because you're going to change them. And this kid comes in, ready to compete. I mean, yeah, he's got some really good quarterbacks in that room to go against. Some really, really solid ones, but he's a guy. If given the opportunity down the line as he matures and as he picks up defenses and as he learns the game a little bit more, because you got to remember in the Panhandle, you're really underexposed. They may have played Niceville and they probably played a couple of other programs, but on the overall, he doesn't get the competition that a Rashadi or any of these other guys. Even in high school, when you take a look back at Van Dyke in Connecticut, I mean, he was playing against some really, really good competition. Guys, not like down here, but pretty steady kids that ended up going to Penn State or schools in the Northeast, Rutgers. So yeah, if you could get that, and then we also know the young man from Valdosta who tore Northwestern up his junior year. I mean, he beat him 42-21, threw for 314 yards, ran for another 150. So Miami's got a room right now where they can compete. And I think that Emory comes in there and he starts learning a little bit from everybody. And that's what you do. Not a vocal kid, but somebody who's going to drink in a lot of knowledge. And it takes a little bit of a gut move to come, even though the average person thinks, well, it's still the state of Florida. Well, it's 755 miles away. So it's like, could be in another state. So he's taken Miami doesn't get a lot of kids from the Panhandle. I mean, they had a young man from Niceville a couple of years ago playing Finley, I think his name was, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't get a lot of kids that come from the Panhandle that go to Miami. Ty Wise was one of them. And, in fact, that's the guy I called when I got back from Tallahassee, and I said, tell me a little bit about this kid, Emory Williams. He goes, because he's in that area, he's in that Pensacola area. So he told me, he says, listen, I saw him twice at camps around here. I saw him during the spring, and he was sold with him. So, and Ty's somebody that I listen to because, I mean, he knows his stuff.
Very cool. Very cool. Before we get to, I don't want to say it again. Before we get to Legends Camp, who are some of the other guys we can expect visiting this weekend, Max?
Yeah, so as far as the official visitors, you have Madden Sanker, the offensive lineman from Georgia, who's going to start his visit tomorrow. You've got Jonel Aguero, one of the best safeties in the country, up from the Northeast. He's going to get here the 24th, so on Friday. You got Jackson Howard, the athlete. We're recruiting him as a defensive end, but he also plays some tight end from Minnesota. You got Malik Bryant from Orlando. One of the best edge / linebacker prospects in the country, 5-star guy. You got four offensive linemen, excuse me. You got Tommy Kinsler, Monroe Freeling, Jonathan Klein, and Samson Okunyola. Okunyola being probably the best tackle in the country, if not the best top 2 or 3. And then you've got Collins Onchampong from Cali. He's a 6'7" tight end / defensive end, another athlete that just has freak size. And then you've got Ray Joseph from Miami Edison, Spark Plug, and you've got
It's gonna be
Cormani.
tough.
Yeah.
Oh, you got Cormani coming in too. That's right.
Yep.
That's gonna be tough because Louisville is definitely in play for Ray now. Just based off of the last time he was there, I know that a lot of the experts have him still coming to Miami, but some still think that Louisville is a big player there, and that's going to be a tough pool for Miami. I mean, it looked a little bit more secure before, but I think it's going to be a tougher pool now, huh?
Yeah, I mean it's for me. So the quarterback at St. John Bosco, his dad is like a big Adidas guy, so. I think that's where a lot of this NIL money is coming from. He's another Elite 11 guy, the quarterback, and he already has one of his teammates committed to Louisville as well.
Right.
And so yeah, they're definitely a player in his recruitment. I think we stand a really good shot still, just because it is the hometown school, and he has a relationship with a lot of the guys on the team. But yeah, I mean, once Louisville landed the number 1 rated running back in the country, you kind of have to, be aware that they have a shot at anyone they want. It's not that they're going to get everybody, but you have to at least pay attention to them because they just pulled the number 1 ranked running back out of the state of Texas to commit to them. So they're definitely a player in the recruitment, but I still feel good about where Miami's at right now.
It's the home of KFC, Max. They got all that chicken money over there.
Yep.
Can you imagine them? They get a sponsorship from KFC to go there and throw down some NIL.
I had Satterfield on our show this week. He's seemed pretty optimistic. I mean, he's got kids, and they did. You got to remember. I mean, they had Tutu Atwell and Teddy Bridgewater, so they've always done pretty well. And they have right now 12 kids from South Florida on the roster. So, and the rumors that I hear is that it looks like he's kind of a pretty heavy lean to Louisville, and it's people behind the scenes. I know his mom, dad. I know his cousin plays as a starting running back at FIU, Flex Joseph. So, it's one of these things where people on the outside are getting in on this recruitment, and I hate that, but that's welcome to 2022. So.
Well, their starting quarterback's been there since Frank Gore, I think, right? So
yes, it seems like that anyway.
Oh man, I'm interested to see what happens with that kid. But moving along, look, big time visits this weekend. I think it's going to be interesting to see how some of these guys like the Jackson Howard, Malik Bryant, Aguero. I think I like Robert Stafford as well. I think he's kind of a kid he's not on the radar of a lot of people, right? Like he's kind of that kid where some people know about him in the recruiting ranks, but he's not that kid that everybody's like, oh, Robert Stafford is gonna. I mean, he's a good player, but I think that he might be a surprise for a lot of people for the Canes. Legends Camp. So Legends Camp I'll get into a little bit more on Wednesday, so I kind of just want to talk about some of the players that are going to be visiting. But it's kind of like the Paradise Camp now, right? It's kind of turned into that where we're not doing Paradise Camp anymore, no backflips off the boards or anything like that in the pool. But this is the Mario Cristobal Legends Camp. What are some things, Max, and I'll kind of throw it to you on this first, some things that we can expect from Legends Camp? Is it going to be guys going after it, competing against each other, very similar to what we saw last year, just kind of maybe bump it up to another level because it is Mario and because it is his staff, because of all the people that all the legends that are going to be here, right? It's not just Canes legends, right, but it's legends from from Mario's past, whether Alabama, Oregon, FIU. I mean, you can throw in a whole bunch, right? Jonathan Cyprian, we could probably bring him in here, and that kid was a stud at FIU. So, what's that all about when it comes to Legends Camp? And are you going to see some really good competition there?
Yeah, so I talked about it last night on my show that I'm like just so excited for Legends Camp because it's like the first event that I have zero information about. So I'm like excited to be surprised at what happens and what legends are there. Like the only legend I know for a fact is going to be there is Lamar Thomas because he posted on Twitter. Like I have no idea who's going to be there, and I'm so excited for that because hanging around guys like Flo, he knows a lot of what's going on. I haven't asked him a word about Legends Camp. He hasn't told me a word about Legends Camp, so I'm just excited. I'm just excited to just sit back and watch things unfold. But as far as competition goes, yeah, they're getting after it. You've got some guys that people may not have heard of. I know Larry's heard of some of these guys, probably all of them. But there's a kid that's going to be there. That was actually there last week. I'm not going to mention his name. That the staff is really, really high on, and they want to see him compete. That's what I'm excited for. I'm excited to be surprised and watch these guys compete. I'm excited to see who all is going to be there, and just hope everybody has a good time.
Blue, you got any info on what we all of us are hopefully going to see? Well, all of us, meaning you and me, are going to see at Legends Camp next weekend.
Well, first of all, it's not next weekend; it's this Saturday.
It's this Saturday?
They can't have anything next weekend because the July 1st ends all the.
You're right. It is this Saturday.
It's only 3 days away.
Why did I keep thinking it was next week?
I don't know.
Jazz, you gotta cancel your golf plans this weekend, bro.
Yeah, because I was saying, come July 1st, and the NCAA shuts the door on the colleges for the summer. So that's why I said, No, I mean, tell him I didn't say he's a heavy lean. I just said that he's, a lot
Yeah,
of people
Lou, he can
tell
hear
him.
you. You can just say it. I don't know.
Yeah. I didn't say that he was a heavy lean. I don't want you to go and, say, hey, Bluestein said no. I just said that it looks pretty good for him because of the fact that I know that a lot of people up at Louisville, and like you said, landing the number one running back, and Satterfield has always done well in South Florida. And the very fact that, I mean, how many receivers is Miami going to take? I mean, in this class, but especially if you have Jaylen Brown, which I think that they definitely should get, and Gene, who I definitely think that they should get, there's then the competition gets pretty thick, because you still have guys that from the last class, even though they haven't, you got George Brand, what's his name, the Northwestern kid, not Brantley, but so Romello, Brinson. But I'm saying you still have kids on, going on, but the very fact that they're going to have, and I talk to a lot of kids, and if you look at, if you go on Facebook, I'll give you a little cheat sheet. Just go on Coach Mirabel's Facebook page, and he keeps posting all the kids that are going to be there. They have graphics on it, and so you could find out a lot of the kids that are going to be there. As far as the players like like Thomas, I'm sure they're gonna. I'm Michael Irvin. He always likes to come to things like this. I'm sure. Maybe I heard even maybe Ray Lewis might show up. So I mean they're trying, especially because all those guys who all those years were bad mouthing Miami and say, we're tired of this, tired of that. This is their opportunity because they got one of their own. Not that Randy and Mark weren't, but they got a guy who's got that fire burning and he doesn't like to lose. So they're going to support him to the end. And that's why I said all the guys, just look back at some of the guys that he played with. So you're going to see a lot of those guys come out to support. And think about this. You have Alonzo Highsmith now. So all the guys that know Alonzo, and I mean, you don't even have to have a Legends camp. You got him right on campus with him and Ed Reed and all those guys like that. So Miami's been in the best shape from a PR standpoint that they've ever been in before, because all the things that the fans have been yelling and screaming about are coming to fruition. We need better facilities. They're getting them. We need guys like Alonzo Highsmith to be a director of player personnel. You got him. We need somebody like Ed Reed. He could be the head coach one day, which we know he's not going to be, but he's on campus. He's, as soon as, things get settled with him and his, back in Atlanta, he's going to be here more often. And that's, you need that. There's stable figures that have been there, done that. And the kids walk in the hallways and see, wow, there's Alonzo. When he played, man, he was a beast, So I think it's going to carry a lot of weight. You're going to see a lot, and we saw it last year, Jazz, at the Paradise camp. A lot of kids, a lot of people showed up, and you're going to get the same thing because it's going to be one of those events that I think it's a standalone. You don't have FSU, you don't have Florida having anything this week, so there's no reason not to be there because people go there to be seen. And, and that's what it is. And people want to be seen, especially this year when the kids are told, you guess who's going to be here? So-and-so is going to be here. Maybe Tua might be there. You never know. I mean, it's just guys that these kids relate to. And that's the one thing. Seeing a 70-year-old guy is nice because he played well. Having a Ted Hendricks because he's arguably the best Hurricane ever is nice, but all the other guys in between, the kids don't relate to. They relate to the guys who are in the NFL now and played at Miami, and will have an opportunity to come back. And I think that's the most exciting part of this camp. And Mario, believe me, Mario's going to put his best foot forward. He has everybody working it. Roland, everybody is working it to get every possible former player and the kids, some of the high marquee kids, if not just from this area, from the country. And I think that let's just pray that it doesn't rain because we don't want to be in that indoor, because that indoor, which is nice and cool, turns pretty hot when like 4,000 people are sitting in there.
Well, yeah, I mean, considering this, just a visit as we spoke about, I'm sure there's going to be over at least a couple hundred kids out there, right? So,
not to mention the ones that show up next week because they got the weeks mixed up. So you got to add those in.
Yeah. All right. This is the game we're gonna play. But two can
Yeah.
play.
I mean, the chat. I'm being nice, not sharing what's going on in the chat, man. So
Well, I already know. It's just hate. It's hate and envy. It's hate and envy. That's all right. I know Flo talks crap about golf. I played one day in golf with him while he plays every single week. He plays every single. Must be nice to be able to play every single week and have that type of freedom, you know. While we're over here doing other stuff. But anyways, I digress. Per source is nothing, Lex. It's Flo or the general. That's it. Anyways, Vish, you didn't even know Legends Camp was this weekend. So what are you talking about? Anyways,
I see that they're expect. I mean, this is guys that they talk about with Frank Gore and Jeremy Shockey and Vinny Testaverde, Reggie Wayne, Edgerrin James, Gino Torretta, Ray Lewis. Those are some of the names that they're throwing out. So that's not a bad little roster of former players right there.
no, it's gonna be pretty awesome. You guys got any questions there, Vish, Danny, for Max and Blue before we get on out of here?
I'm good. I could listen to these guys talk all day.
yeah, I got nothing.
Hey Max, we gotta hook up. I'm still waiting to come on.
I will get you on.
Yep. I'm looking forward to it. It's like to talk to the Hurricane fans, and especially with Jazz. Jazz is always in my ear about all these things happening. And yeah, I want to just say one thing. I told you Miami's baseball team, they had one pitcher, man. They had one pitcher.
Me and Vish knew it. We knew it.
Hold on. It was the hitting.
Yeah, well,
yeah, but still, when you waste your one pitcher, the guy throws like a 4-hitter and they lose.
Yeah, but then Rosario also.
Yeah,
and they had a freshman that clearly had dead arm that Gino just kept throwing out there when it was obvious his arm was just shot.
But we're seeing Ole Miss do pretty damn well in the World Series, though.
We are.
Yeah,
I know. It's just even more disappointing. We had them. We were up one late innings against them. They haven't lost a game in the whole.
No, they were the number one team in the country at one point. So I mean,
just had to finish.
Well, USF was number 2 in football too at one time. So
according to them, they won the Natty.
That's UCF.
That's UCF.
Oh, you said USF. Okay.
Yeah, USF was number 2, right? When Jim Levitt was the coach, and they've never been, I don't think, back in the top 25 ever since. So,
Blue Rasta wants you to come on the show.
UCF's different though.
Blue Rasta wants you to come on the show tomorrow night. You got to hit him up on the show. You got to hit him up. Rasta, hit him up. Hit him up. Lex actually has a question. Real quick, how many commits we hit on this weekend? I think that's the question is for both Blue and Max. I mean, we can all answer that, really. But
well, go ahead. You answer it. You guys. And Danny's been into the recruiting lately. He's writing all those stories.
I'll say we hit on.
Keep up.
I say we hit on 3 guys. 3 guys this weekend, Max. What do you think?
Are we talking about commits that happened by this weekend?
That happened. Well, that happened, because of this.
As a result of this weekend.
Yeah, as a result.
Let's see. As a result of this weekend, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna say 5 as a result of this weekend.
Why are you getting everybody so happy though, man?
But it's not gonna happen by this weekend. But at least 5 guys that are going to be on campus this week/weekend, I think, will be Canes.
5 guys. There you go. Blue, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm in the belief that the things that are going on, especially because they're going to take a lot of these special kids that Max had talked about and you guys have talked about, and they'll get them early and they'll take them, for a little special walk and talk to them a little bit and get them in the offices and get them into the Hall of Fame hall and show them everything, that's going to transpire. Oh, by the way, this is Edgerrin James and he used to run the ball here type things. And I think that you're going to see at least 4 or 5 guys as a result, maybe in the coming weeks, because remember these kids, because come next Wednesday, the colleges are locked out. So, because the NCAA doesn't, prohibit any more July stuff. So anything that's going to get done is going to, a lot of these colleges are going to take vacations for July because they can't do anything. So I think that, Yeah, I agree. I think that a lot of this work is going to be done, and is being done now, as Max alluded to before, that you have some pretty high profile guys down here today, tomorrow, and then into Friday. Because remember, Friday's going to be huge, because Friday night the dudes that are in, they usually have like some type of cocktail gathering or some type of party, and I think you'll see a lot of these high level recruits find their way to those parties. And you never know. And it changes people's mind. And I always revert back to John Beeson. When Miami wanted John Beeson so bad, and Georgia wanted him as a running back because of the way he played in the All-Star game. He had 135 yards rushing. What Miami did is they invited nobody else but John Beeson and his mother to the last weekend. And that sealed the deal. So those things happen. Dreams come true.
Real quick, two things. What's up with Ruben Bain? As damn, it feels good. He might be there, right? He might show up. I mean, he's here, so I don't know. He's not an official visitor, right, Max?
No.
But he's been on campus like 87 times already. So
yeah, I think he lives on campus.
Yeah, I think he already has. He actually has a room.
He's got his apartment already.
Yeah, he's got his apartment already right across the street.
He's with the Cavender twins as we speak. So.
I see what you did there, Blue. God, man. You can't have Blue on the show all the time. You see what he does now with the Cavender twins. Jesus. And then also, no, he's taking so he's not going to be here this weekend. Okay, interesting. But anyways, pretty exciting weekend, and I think that me and Blue will definitely have some action for you guys.
Yeah.
Going forward, and we'll definitely do a little something. What we wanted to announce is that we're giving a certain podcast a facelift, and Blue was the originator of this podcast, so we're gonna give it a little bit of a facelift. You guys are gonna be really excited to hear it, because you'll be able to hear a lot of stuff that you get here in podcast form as well. We'll be announcing it soon on Twitter and on social media, and we'll definitely do something together with Blue, DJ, and Vish for 5 reasons. But keep it locked, because that's going to be a pretty exciting thing that we're going to do. We're going to do some rebranding, but some really exciting stuff on that podcast. So keep it locked.
Especially during the season, because you get weekly, like it really becomes a pre-game. You break down both teams, and it's a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Max, let them know where they can find you, brother.
Right here, Miami Flo Max. Follow me there on Twitter, and all the Miami Flo shows. We go live almost every day of the week now. We got Tuesdays, my show, as well as John's. And then actually Wednesdays we have the day off, but we're usually on somebody's show. Thursdays is Rasta and Dave on Sebastian Lane, and then Flo goes live for his Flow Motion on Fridays, and then he does a Sunday show. So we're live most days of the week, trying to provide some Canes content for all the fans. Oh, and we got Lex and Ao on Mondays now.
That's right. So, don't forget about Lex and Ao.
Who's like the designated survivor the Miami Flo Network left back? Because you're all in the chat, or Max is on the show with us. But
I know John is on. John's on the chat now.
John hopped in here.
So
I thought it was him, but then here he is. So
yeah, everyone asked if we had a show tonight. I said, we don't, but I'm going to be on the Six Rings Kane show. So I posted it in our group chat, and
there we go, baby.
All the degenerates showed up.
Always appreciate the love, General.
Appreciate it.
Alex Tap. Yeah. Yes. By the way, what we got coming up. By the way, follow us on Twitter at Six Rings Canes. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's the 5 Reasons Sports YouTube channel. And every Wednesday night at 8:30 here, Six Rings Canes. But as Fernie Tap is alluding to right there, F1 hitting the apex is up next right here on the same 5 Reasons Sports channel. Make sure you keep it locked if you're an F1 fan. If you're not an F1 fan and you want to become one, this is definitely the show that you want to check it out. Make sure you keep it locked. F1, Formula 1 for 5 Reasons Sports hitting the apex is coming up now at 9:30. Thank you guys for coming on the show. We'll see you guys next Wednesday at 8:30, and we'll definitely get into a little bit more about what happened in Legends Camp, which is this weekend, guys. All right. We'll talk to you guys later, and have a good one.